tip, hey, the Chiefs are going to be playing the Cowboys. Happy Thanksgiving. It's Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving here. But wanted to go over, we're seeing a lot of dealerships, what we call middle bucket buildup, aging problems happening. I think a lot of people making price adjustments and everything kind of delayed reacting to the market fast enough. And we're seeing a lot of dealers' inventory just building up in that middle bucket, getting a little bit fatter in that. When I say middle bucket, I'm talking 30 to 60 day old stuff. Again, 0 to 30 day old stuff, that's your fresh stuff. You want 60 to 70% of your current inventory at least sitting in that 0 to 30 bucket so you can sell at least 60 to 70%, if not more, out of that first 30. That's how you get gross and volume. Now, with that being said, I would have, in here, I want to go over the numbers. I would have less than really no age, right over 60 days old. But if you're going to be just generous, and in our system, we be generous and say less than 10% over 60 days old, only because I do think sometimes there's those oddball cars, lifted trucks and Jeeps and certain vehicles that just deserve, even the cheap cars, it's an $8,000 car. You're just waiting for the right buyer or the right bank call or whatever. If somebody's trying to, a bunch of subprime people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share actually active inventory as a dealer I was talking to earlier. And, again, we can just see and map out how and when all the aging happened. Okay. And I wanted to go over how you can clean up your current aged problem, but also prevent it again. And so I'm going to give you some stats on that. And I'm going to share my screen. And so if you're listening to this on the podcast, I was talking to somebody a couple of weeks ago. He's like, hey, listen to your podcast, and I know you share a lot of charts. So now what I'm going to show you again, the goal is to have at least 65% of your inventory 0 to 30 days old, less than 25% in the middle bucket, less than 10% age. So, and again, these are just kind of the goals, and again, hopefully we outproduce those numbers. But really what I was telling them, and I've said it before in these videos, but in case you're new to watching, is as much as we preach, you want to sell what we call first 30, have 60, 70% in the first 30 days. So your sales, these are sales, you want 65% or more of your sales going out in the first 30, and they're only doing 38%. So how or what happened here? And we'll go through this. There's reasonings on this account, but I just using this account for a perfect example. We were mapping this out earlier. And I was saying the middle bucket management is as, if not more important than the first 30. And so obviously after 30 days, your gross goes away, right? After, here's the markup on some of these cars. After 30 days old, we're not making as much gross. So we've got to keep that inventory clean. And so we put a cap here at 25% in that middle bucket. Now, right now I'm looking at this inventory based off of dollars. You can also look at it at units, so percentage of dollars, okay? And so let me just show you the math. Anytime this 22% is sitting here, let's say that's right now, we want at least about 5% or more going out of that bucket, because cars are going to come in and out of that bucket. I know the math doesn't math, but just hear me out. If you got 22% there, you better sell more than what's sitting there as cars come that bucket and leave that bucket. So he's doing okay there, but it's really not enough. With an aging problem, which he has, you want this 30 to 60 below 20%. Get it in the teens, and that's how you stop and clean up your current age issue right now. What you want to do is get this 31 to 60 in the teens, and outsell it by at least 5% or more. And then what that does is strangle off any cars bleeding through and adding to the aging issue. Okay, so strangle it off, work out of the age cars, but they're already aged. If you got a 70-day-old car, it's too late now. Focus on that 30 to 60. Don't add to it. In the meantime, start working out of those cars. So once you squeeze it off, and it might take you a month to line this up, it might take 2 or 3 weeks to line it up, get it below 20%, squeeze it off, start working. And if there's 10 units aged, then decide how fast you want to get off those 10 units. You want to do 10 this month, or do you want to do 5 this month, 5 next month, and pace it out? That all depends on your budget and where you are financially to take that hit. But let me just prove a point here. And that's why I'm going to go in this. Again, this is this carry graph. And look at Okay, so red obviously indicates age cars, but when did the red start dropping? If you look, right when his middle buckets, okay, start getting below that 20%, okay? Once that middle bucket gets below that 20%, that's where the age starts going away. So look right here. Sorry. 31 to 45 was 12%, and 46 to 60 was 6%. So 18% of his inventory was in that middle bucket. And that's when the age started going down. Look how low. Okay, 12 and 2, 14% in that middle bucket. And so a couple days and weeks later, the red started disappearing. Man, the red went away. Look, age went away as 16% middle bucket. Age going away because we weren't adding to it. But when did age start building back up? Well, look at the yellow. 31 to 45 jumped up 35%. And then you combine that with yellow and orange, the 31 to 45, 46 to 60. All of a sudden, it gets back up into that middle 20s, all right? And look here, the age starts coming back, all right? So now we're at 26% in that middle bucket. We're at 29% in the middle bucket. Age starts happening. Age went away. Again, as we got down to 16%, age started going away. But age started building back up. Look at that, 24 and 8, all right? So 32% sitting in that middle bucket, even only 4% was aged. But look what happened weeks later, 10% age, right? Anytime that the age dropped off is when I dropped that middle bucket down to 18%. Age starts going away. Look, age went away. I'm at 20% in that middle bucket. Age goes away. But then as soon as that middle bucket pops back up, look at that right here, 42%. And remember, this is where growth starts suffering. And this is why you go in and out of these cycles. Because now I got 42% in that middle bucket, 23 plus 19, 42%. That means I need about 45 to 47% of half of my sales to go out of those buckets, which means, oh man, my grosses are taking a hit. That means you overcompensate for a 35-day-old car going, well, it's still 35 days old. Give me a little bit of time. I'm not going to drop the price yet because I just don't want to take a hit. My grosses are going down. And then all of a sudden, that 35-day-old car turns to 45-day-old car. And then that 45-day-old car turns into a 60-day-old car. And next thing you know, we're back up to 17% age. When did the age start dropping? Oh, look, he's down in the low 20s, 20%. Middle bucket age starts going down. And then all of a sudden we're back up to what? Middle bucket of 31%. Then we're back up in the middle bucket 35%. Then we're back up in the middle bucket 45%. Then we're back up in the middle bucket of 31%. And then the age, bam. So now his age is going away, but why? Because we got the middle bucket back down to 19%. Age is dropping. Okay, so you're going to go through these cycles, but that's how you clean up your age, squeeze it off, stop, don't sell any cars over that, or get that middle bucket below 20% and outsell it by at least 5. Get 18% middle bucket, selling 25% out of there. You don't add any more age cars, clean up the age. And then from there on, don't let that middle bucket get above 25%. As soon as that middle bucket gets in the low 20s to mid 20s, man, it's just it just domino effect. Pow, 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 pow. Next thing you know, 2, 3, 4 weeks later, we got a big aging problem again. So this just maps it out. This is looking over the last year, and you can see it happen time and time and time again. Okay, we're at 16%. Look at this middle buckets down to 23, 22%. The age goes away, and then bam, we're back up again. So I am going to stop sharing that screen. That is how you clean up your aged inventory, how you prevent it from aging again. But here's the thing. Anything could be causing this to happen. Let me go back into here because I am going to do a little bit of a how do you know, again, how to attack? Well, one, this is pretty easy. Look, 24% of his inventory is sitting 29% of his current inventory is sitting 16 to 30. But right now he's only selling 24%. If he doesn't increase that sale rate, they're going to go and add to his 31 to 45, which right now he's at 22%. But guess what? If I don't increase 16 to 30, that 22% is going to jump over 25%. So isolate the 16 to 30 cars and then start attacking them from there. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. But isolate those cars, figure out what adjustments you need to make sure if it's find out which cars need to attack out of that bucket, figure out, is it a pricing problem based off of how cars tend to leave your lot first before you look at the market? But also, is it a people problem? Do I have leads that no one's following up with? Do I have leads on these in-stock cars 16 to 30 days old? And if I do, I should be reaching out every 2 to 3 days on those cars, on those leads, and increase the contact ratio on those leads before I just decrease the pricing. The price should be the last lever you pull. So I hope this was helpful. This is kind of going into the holidays here. We got Thanksgiving tomorrow. Hope everybody has a blessed Thanksgiving and a great, strong finish to the month. It should be a good little push. You get this Black Friday holiday weekend. Maybe get some traffic and sell some cars rolling into December, into the end of the year, which is amazing. The older I get, the faster these years are going by. So I will put one out next week too. I want to see kind of the repercussions of this going into next week, see what everybody did. I'll give you an update on what we see our dealers doing and if they had a big push and compare it to what maybe happened at your store. Again, happy Thanksgiving. See